some of our forefathers, those who have created the landscape that we live in right now, good and bad. I think that those are important things.
Chip, you were talking about going to the library. I remember the time we had to use Encyclopedia Britannicas and stuff like that. Now everything is in the palm of your hand. Chip, I can remember when I was in the military, and a part of my job was in military. I used to teach those officer candidates at NAS that would become officers and pilots and so forth. Mm-hmm. And we had a curricula that called Change, and we used to talk about future things that might cause shock. We used to show them a film called Future Shock, a book by the guy by the name of Alvin Toffler, and he talked about a lot of this stuff that coming true today about the different kinds of things and information systems, and we will have stuff in the palm of your hand, which we couldn't even relate to it in those days, and I can remember the students used to laugh about some of those things. But I look back on it and says, Alvin Taft was on something. He was a visionary because he saw that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think we can all, the men of our certain age, all of us have been through a lot. You know, I say the advent of the computer. The computer was actually invented probably in the 50s, I think it was, with Big Blue. But I wasn't born then. But I think that the infiltration of the computers in a workspace, with regards to work and in academia, I think these are things that the people of our generation can look back and remember the first computer we had to do a police report. I can remember the first time my parents got a microwave. I can remember the first time I got a cell phone. It used to be beepers, right? Beepers and pagers, and then we went to cell phones. So I think technologies, I don't fight technology. Heck, we're here at the sheriff's office. We're trying to integrate technology with manpower so that we can create the safest community that we possibly can.
That's true. That's true. What's happening in Escambia County, Chip, before we run out of time?
Yeah, we put some couple things on Facebook I'd like to draw attention to. First thing is we got someone up north end around Century that had tried to stop a car, and now there's a belief that individual is not a law enforcement officer. And so we're trying to figure out exactly who that was. And then we would also just give people some advice. We don't want people to, if they feel uncomfortable, to stop. Do not stop. Call 911. Put your hazard lights on. That lets them know, if it is a real police officer, lets them know you're acknowledging that they're there. And then call our dispatcher. Call 911. If we're making a traffic stop, our dispatcher is going to know it. And so we just want to make sure that everyone understands we take this very serious. It is a felony. We will put you in jail because we have to have the trust of the community, and they have to understand that if you're being pulled over, that they have to trust that's a real law enforcement officer. In this case, there were some signs. They turned their car, the little blue light they had on their dash, they turned that light off as soon as they made the stop. They didn't have a radio with them. They showed a badge, but it didn't look like a star. It didn't look like a badge that we would have. And then they asked to search some things. So we're not sure exactly what they were getting at. And there's still a chance it was a law enforcement officer from another community. It could have been someone that's the other jurisdiction, but try to make a traffic stop. But we believe at this point we're going under the suspicion that this was not a law enforcement officer, and we've been looking up there in that area for the past couple of days and looking to put them in jail. So that's one thing. The second thing is we put a picture of a 1-year-old small child.
Before you get to that, Chip,
sure.
But I want to talk about the 1-year-old. But in Escambia County, do we have anything like constables or anything like that? Is this
no?
Okay, we have.
But we don't have those anymore.
Yeah. The reason I asked that, because when you said that, it kind of brought me back when I was for my little small community in Alabama. My daddy was a constable, and the only thing that he had was a pickup truck, but he had a blue light. I can't remember that he had a blue light, a red light back then. I don't know, but anyhow, he had that, and then he had a little badge, but he didn't even have a uniform. But he had a gun, but didn't have a uniform on. Then he used to make traffic stops and like that, and I tell all the folks all the time. He had a roadblock one day and traffic stop, and I came through. He normally made me show my license like everybody else. But since we don't have constables or anything like that, so there is no reason. And I know that you have officers sometimes in unmarked cars, right? And so
Yes.
that might be a possibility, but there's a good thing. So we advise folks to if you got questions about it, you said put on your hazards lights, maybe call
Mhm.
911 to verify if there is a unit into the area and so forth. And should you continue to drive or just pull over? How do you do
Well,
that?
I would drive to an area that you feel more comfortable with. If you're on a rural roadway or something that's not well lit, I would continue to drive. Again, if it's not a real police officer, they're not going to pit you. They're not going to try to crash into you. They're going to have to follow you or give up. So what we'll do, expect people or ask people to do is to turn your hazards on, call 911, tell them where you're at, tell them there's a car that's trying to stop you, and then go to a grocery store, a well-lit grocery store. Go to your home, quite frankly. You can go somewhere that you feel more comfortable. So we're asking people to do that. Now, we don't stop cars in our unmarked cars unless it's an emergency.
Oh, okay.
And even well, we don't even have what they call ghost lettering on our cars. There are some other agencies that have a police car. It's dark colored, but you can't see police on the side unless you have a certain angle with a certain light. I don't even do that. We don't do that here at the sheriff's office because I want people to know there's no doubt that's a police car. And that's
Right.
why in the case that we're talking about, an issue with there was a little issue with is it a police car? Is it not a police car? And I don't want anyone to get confused. If we do happen to stop a car with our own marked car, we're going to have a marked car with them. We're going to call for a marked car so that they're there, so there's no confusion again because we take this very serious.
Yeah, and that's important because I have read that there has been cases of sexual assault and many different things happen when people pull over unsuspectingly. So when the reporter, what happened in that case? Did the guy give him a ticket, or what happened as a result of it?
No, if it wasn't a policeman, they can't give him anything. I don't know, and that's the kind of peculiar part of this is we're not sure exactly what they wanted. The thought here is that, and the prevailing thought is that this individual might have been looking for some pills, and because he asked the lady if she had some pills in her purse, and I guess she didn't have the pills in her purse because he didn't take anything, and they just let her go. So
Mm.
in this case, fortunately, all he wanted, it appears to be I didn't even want money. Just asked about pills, and again, we thought the working thought is that they were trying to get some pills from this lady, and when she didn't have the right pills or the pills that he wanted, that he would just go ahead and go, and that's exactly what took place. And then she started thinking about it. I wish she'd have called us because I was sure would have loved to have catch this guy when
Yeah,
he's around this traffic stop and show him what a real law enforcement officer can do.
yeah. You still maintain a field office up in Century, don't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
we have
Let's
one
go.
in Molino, and we want to have one in Century.
Okay. Very good. Let's go. Let's talk about the 1 year old because I think that is very important. I didn't want to distract you from that.
Okay, yeah. And anytime there is a child that's potentially endangered, obviously people want to help and they have a lot of questions. They have to know all the details. So I'll just give you as much detail as we know. We got a call about a month ago that a female was overdosing. When we get there, she's overdosing, but she's also concerned about her child. But come to find out, her child had been left with a babysitter. The child seemed to be okay, doing okay. They was sleeping in one bed, and the babysitter was sleeping in the other bed. So ultimately, the child's father, biological father, who shared custody, was called to come pick up the child, while the mother, who had been overdosing, was taken to the hospital. So when we all these things are taking place, we contacted DCF through their hotline, so they're opening up an investigation. The mother's going to the hospital. The father has the child. Right, the father has no warrants. The father has the child. The father wasn't at the scene. He had to be called to the scene. So in the meantime, DCF does their report, and then they ultimately get an order from a judge that to pick up this child, this 1 year old child, for what they call an assessment. So when we get this order to pick up the child, then we start looking for the child. A couple of days we've been looking for the child. We got it about 4 or 5 days ago, and we start looking for the child. We can't find the child immediately, and you're posting that picture, which I appreciate it. Um, we asked the citizens to help us out. I mean, because do we think the child is in danger? We don't know. The last we seen the child was with her father. The child wasn't endangered at that time, but we don't know if the child's back with her mother. And all we do know for now is that the DCF has an order to take the child for an assessment, and that's why we're putting the information out. It's not, we can say it's the child's endangered, but the order says take the child for an assessment. And the last we saw, the child was not in immediate danger, as we could tell, and it was with the father. Now, the conditions at the hotel were not great. The mother left the child in the conditions that weren't great, and that's why there was a warrant for the mother. In fact, there's two warrants for the mother. One is for child abuse, child endangerment, and the second one is a petty theft or a small theft warrant on her. So she has two warrants. She's the biological mother. She may or may not be with the child, because the last we knew, the child was with the father. So DCF wants to talk to him, and so we're trying to get the baby, and we're trying to get them some help so that get the help DCF so they can get this assessment done on this 1-year-old.
So far, you're not able to locate the mother or the father?
We're not. We're not. Again, there's two warrants on the mother. We are getting some information, but we not yet got enough to where we can say, okay, let's go ahead and pick up that child. But right. we put it out because we want to make sure that people know. They frequent hotels on 29, and we want to make sure that people understand that we're looking for. Maybe there's relatives, maybe there's friends, maybe there's another babysitter that they use. We want to make sure that everyone that we can knows we're looking for this, because again, there is an order signed by a judge, and so we're required to pick up this child for this assessment.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, we asking for the public for some help, and just pick up it. You do have a direct line, or did everybody have to go to 911 to get to the sheriff's office? How did that work, Chip?
Well, we have an emergency and a non-emergency line, and then there's a Crime Stoppers number. So we have our 911, obviously, if you're in immediate danger, and then we have a non-emergency number for our dispatch, which 436-9620, and then there's a Crime Stoppers number 433-STOP. So all of these numbers, any of these and all of these numbers would work if someone sees them, and I feel confident we'll be able to find this child in pretty short order. In fact, I'll have an update here shortly on what our next plans are. Okay.
Now, since we're on the subject of on the subject of Crime Stopper, okay, explain to the public how the Crime Stopper system works.
Well, there's a system that an individual has some information, and they know where someone that a criminal is hiding. Say they pick up, call 433-STOP, and then the operator that will get that call, they will not. In fact, you're not allowed to give your name. So all they get is information. They assign you a number, and then they forward that information to the person or the agency that needs it. And then if it leads to an arrest, what they'll do is go back with that number, and then recontact the individual that gave the information. Sometimes they don't even give they don't want the money. They just want the bad guy, or they want the person off the street, or they want the situation resolved. So if an arrest is made, though, they are eligible for money. And they have Crime Stoppers isn't really isn't affiliated entirely with the sheriff's office. It is a attorney general's office program. And so we don't have access to the individuals that call. Now, we do have some people that work as liaisons with Crime Stoppers, because it's quite a big operation, and someone has to be a clearinghouse to say, okay, this is a drug case. We're going to put this to narcotics. This is a homicide case. Move this to investigations. So someone does that for our agency, but we don't operate it. We don't pay the fines. Crime Stoppers does all that.
Okay, that's great. Next time, only prepare graphics for the number for your non-emergency number and the Crime Stopper numbers, because we don't want folks bargaining up 911 for non-emergency kinds of stuff. And so the 911 and the Crime Stopper number would be a great thing. And the Crime Stopper is great stuff for people that say they don't want to get involved. Some people don't report stuff because they don't want to get involved themselves. but Crime Stop is a way of getting involved without getting involved. Am I right?
Right. That's correct. They can give us the information and no one will ever know. You don't show up in court. We never know your name, but you could be eligible for a cash reward.
Okay. All right. Chip, is there anything else?
No, I look forward to seeing you. This could be a busy weekend for us. We'll be there. I'll be there Saturday morning, Saturday night. Got an event, and then on the parade, we'll be there at the parade as well, all bundled up.
All right. Well, we'll be at the parade, so don't stop. Don't fail to stop in and give us a few words at the grandstand. Okay.
I will do that. Y'all
All
take
right,
care.
y'all. Thank you, Chip. We appreciate you. Okay. All right, y'all. That is our sheriff, Scammer County Sheriff Chip Simmons, y'all, reporting every Friday 8:30 here on this program, so we can keep the community informed on what's happening on the in the Scammer County law enforcement arena. All right, y'all. My time is up. I apologize. We had a little hiccup in the system here. Why? I don't know. All I can tell you is what my grandmama used to say. Said the devil is busy. Okay. But what they forget, God is busier. But anyway, the devil is busy, and it make you do some things. I got to figure out why that glitch happened. So, but anyway, y'all prepare for the weekend. We got a lot of activity going on the weekend. As far as the MLK is concerned, we got the parade on Monday. And so we won't be on. I just want to remind you, we will not be on Monday, okay? On Monday, because we are doing the parade. And so we'll be back with Morning with Vernon starting on Tuesday through Friday of next week, okay? And don't forget the reason for the season. The reason is that we're going to be celebrating the legacy of Dr. King. You should be off. Most folks are off on Monday. So it's a day on and not a day off. We invite you to come downtown, enjoy the parade. And if you can't enjoy it, WBQP will bring it to you on television live and record it. Once we record the event, we're going to play it back several times during the month of January, right? Leading right into February for Black History Month and everything. But I want to thank you guys and ladies for putting up with me this morning. And I tell you what, if the creek doesn't rise, okay, I'll see you on Tuesday. Well, I'll see you Monday at the MLK parade. And we got a guest coming in from Mobile, Alabama, Mrs. Jazzy Red. She's a videographer and has her own show over there. And she's been doing stuff like this for years. And she's going to come over and participate and record the parade. So if y'all see her and her camera, give her a shout out and everything for Jazzy Red over in Mobile, Alabama. So folks, thank you. And when you're coming down Jefferson Street, you make sure you look for the WBQP Blab cameras there, okay? And do your best performance there. All right, I love you, as Omar would say. I love you with a perfect love, and as George Wallace, the comedian, would say, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. All right, y'all. We'll see you on Tuesday, but we'll see you Monday at the parade. But on Tuesday morning, we'll be right back here at 6:30. Okay.
It's time for
all right, y'all. Thank you.
Vernon.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
See ya Monday.
Yeah. Get up now. Come on now. Get up. For Mornings with Vernon. Get up now. Let's go. Get up now.